I hereby summon all my imps. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. So, this is kind of a wrap up to the entire Mercenaries thing. So, I've thought about different things I can do. I've thought about doing like challenges, and I've thought about doing even the mythic boss rushes as kind of content, but all of that doesn't seem to be worth the time and energy and effort. And the problem with that is whoever made the boss rush mode, I cannot prove this beyond a shadow of a doubt. This is kind of my most tinfoily conspiracy theory, can't ever find out the reasoning behind this kind of theory. Is that when it was time to start shutting this down, and we got that final announcement to shut down Mercenaries, whoever was told, or whoever had Mystic, was told by Blizzard / Hearthstone, whoever owns the game at this point, to purposely make this mode bad. And I can't prove that. I can't show any proof behind that. It's my biggest conspiracy tinfoil hat theory that's out there. And the reason that they were told to make this mode as bad as possible, because if it started to be good, if they made actual Mystic Rush good, people might have actually wanted to go back and play Mercenaries. And if people wanted to go back and play Mercenaries, they might have gotten more pushback to get the game more balanced, to have more push out for bugs and errors that are coming up. With making boss rush mode horribly powered for how much renown you get for winning a boss rush mode, nobody's basically playing it. I cannot push forward to this. And if you wanted to make Mythic Boss Rush good, you would make it so that you could have like an infinite tower that you could go up. Like, just every single time you won against the boss, you just got to throw a level on top of you. Throw a level on top of you. Throw a level on top of you. So that way you could either play infinitely, so you could be like, oh man, this is fun to do. Or so that you got different boss combinations each and every time. Because once you've beaten the boss for that day, no matter which boss rush it is, you're done. It's done. There's no rhyme, there's no reason, there's no want to go and do boss rush again. And the thing is that when I originally started the free-to-play run, it was my way of trying to get people to actually like Mercenaries, trying to get people to play Mercenaries, trying to say to people, hey, it's not too late for you to join them. Because when this game originally came out, it was hated. Hated with a passion. And part of the reason behind it was for the longest time we were told we can't have this update, or we can't have that update, or we can't have this done because we're working on Mercenaries. And they built it up so much that there was basically no way they were living up to the hype. And when they brought it out, for whatever reason, they didn't focus on the PvP. I don't know why they thought that people who played Hearthstone didn't like the PvP side of it. The PvP side of it is actually kind of one of the better sides of it. There were people who got into Mercenaries and started to actually form tournaments with buys and with banning certain mercenaries and making up teams based on the cards that you could draft and everything else like that. Which when you saw how that could run and how interesting that was, you saw where the game could be. And when the game first came out, the first preview that you saw for this, you sat there and went, what am I even looking at? Even I didn't know what the game was supposed to be. And before it even came out, you were having packs that you could buy. And if you bought all 3 starter packs, which was not unheard of for the normal person to buy, the 3 starter packs, you already were getting tokens that were access tokens. So I don't know who thought that we wouldn't hit access tokens quickly. Because if you just bought the 3 starter packs, you already are getting access tokens. And each mercenary, if you got them running, you could get 3 packs off of each individual mercenary. So one got you 3 extra packs, which then you could open up those 3 packs and usually get 3 more mercenaries, and then get you 3 more packs. And it didn't take too long before most people had most of the mercenaries. And if you didn't want to do it that way, you could grind for each and every mercenary. And it didn't take long before people were trying to find the mysterious challenger to get the mysterious challenger up and running. And for a while, you were getting like a mercenary a week. And it was one mercenary that came out each and every week. And it was something that was keeping the meta jumping and jiving as people were trying to figure out how to use a new mercenary, how to level up the new mercenary. But then at some point they decided to switch that up and make it so that you had this big influx of mercenaries in one big rush. And that kind of killed it because you kind of had this feast and famine where you had to try to sacrifice so much time to get the new mercenaries up and running. And once you got those new mercenaries up and running, you had nothing else to do in the game. The game hit kind of a dead zone. And then they had a pretty good idea, in my opinion, where they had timed events. The problem with the timed events was simply due to the fact that A, they weren't promoted. Nobody knew that they were promoted. And B, they kind of took off that daily event, which a lot of people didn't like, but a lot of people liked the daily events. So a lot of people liked the ability to do that. That was one of their strongest suits. That was one of their strongest plays. And now that's basically gone because they're not going to introduce any new mercenaries. Basically, they're... If you look at my board, this is my main account. And if you just quickly go through everything, you'll see that Most of what I have is golden. Most of what I have is maxed. There are a few people who aren't maxed. There are a few people who aren't golden. I mean, I've got a little bit more to go. It's, a few more tasks to finish off. But I've cracked all my packs. I've completed all my bounties. There's really nothing more for me to do in this game. And it's hard to make content on a game that died. And the game died. The game died a couple months ago. The day when it was announced that this would be the final patch, which was right before the release that came out. That was the day the game died. And the only reason that I kept putting out Mercenaries content was because I started free-to-play run. And I wanted whoever cared, whoever thought that that content was worthwhile, to see it through again. I hate having stuff that people be like, oh man, this got unfinished. But I finished it off, cracked open all the packs, and there's nothing more for me to do in Mercenaries. So, there's stuff they could have done. There's stuff they could have fixed. If this game would have came out with the boss rush mode, if you would have had the factions from the beginning, and made it just so that everything fell into like 107 factions, which would have just been, let's see if I can do this right, Horde, Alliance, Saviors, Corruptors, and Wild. So there's 5. That would have given a second life to this game. If you would have made the Mystic boss rush give out better renown, that would have given a second life to this game. If you had made any battlegrounds that, you got 6 random mercenaries, and that's what your team, but they'd be completely maxed out on HP, XP, everything else, all equipment's unlocked. But this is your 6 random mercenaries. Go and try it. And win, 5 battles with it. That would have given this a second life. They had put affixes into bounties, where all of a sudden, on one particular board, there's a mana storm, which means that all of your cards now act 2 speed faster. Or all fire damage does 2 more damage this game. That would have changed the game. But all these things are stuff that aren't gonna happen, won't happen. And I will not be shocked. I will not be surprised if, when the new patch comes around in April, they remove Mercenaries off the main tab. And they replace it with, duels or Tavern Brawl or something else, and Mercenaries just goes into modes. And maybe Tavern Brawl, duels now goes up in here. So this becomes duels and Mercenaries that goes into here. I wouldn't be shocked, I wouldn't be surprised if they take off the XP for Mercenaries. To stop people from just going into Mercenaries to farm it for XP. I wouldn't be surprised if down the road somewhere you have to opt in to join Mercenaries because it would be extra megabytes and gigabytes to add to a phone. They're gonna bury this. You know, but here's the thing. When I started this, I was trying to get people to play it just for fun. And at the end of the day, it can be fun. You know, there's a lot of challenges, a lot of interesting bounties to go with. I got 60, basically, hours of gameplay off of this. Which, for something that's going to cost you pretty much one heroic tavern brawl to unlock everything, isn't the worst thing in the world. But at the end of the day, I can't recommend it. I really can't. I mean, if you want to do it for fun, if you got some downtime, and you just want to play a quick bounty for whatever reason, go for it. But for me, I can't think of anything else to do with Mercenaries. And trust me, I tried to think of stuff to do even before I knew that Mercenaries was ending. I figured once I was done with the free-to-play run, I might do a challenge run where I have to put the first 5 mercs that I get off of packs. Sorry, 6 mercs that I get off of packs. I thought of doing weird stuff. I thought of doing interesting stuff. There's no point at this point. I can do the mythic boss rushes, but there's no return on investment. There's no ROI on them. So, if you did like my Mercenaries content and you enjoyed watching it, I'm glad that I was able to produce it. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm done making content, but I am going to pivot. I'm going to pivot away from Mercenaries, and I'm going to even pivot away from pretty much everything Hearthstone. I don't know if maybe somewhere down the road I'll make another something for Hearthstone. Something that just shocks me and amazes me, but there's a part of me that just doesn't even care what the next set is. That's coming out in April. There's so much of me that just, like, is done with Hearthstone. And that's something that I never thought I would say, but everything just feels like it's pointless, for lack of a better word. That yes, I could do duels, or yes, I could do battlegrounds. And yes, I could do standard, and yes, I could do wild. But I can't see me doing any of that. So, this is going to be the last one for Mercenaries. Starting Monday, I'm going to see what I can do with Marvel Snap. But I do want to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, remember, play for fun.